Hello everyone, this is Jim Okersinski with this week's lecture video. So I'm beginning in our textbook today in the how and why to write a summary section of chapter 3. As you can see, I have some notes here on how to write a summary. I urge everyone to read through this particular section. As you can see, the first several underlined points are all about working with the article, right? Considering the structure of the argument, which we did in, I believe, discussion board number 7. We had some good coverage of the blue collar brilliance article in discussion boards 6 and 7, right? So you want to make sure that you have read those a couple of times. Maybe you might want to revisit that again. Next week is when the first draft and the peer review process begins on Tuesday. So I offer some keys here about keys to summarizing effectively, and there are no quotes in summary. It's just as simple as that. It is a summary. So if you're grabbing quotes and talking about quotes, you are not summarizing. Okay, so you don't have to summarize common words or common places. Do not use uncommon words of the author, right? You have to figure out a different way of saying what the author has written. No borrowing phrases, right? Because if you're borrowing phrases, you're basically quoting, and if you're not quoting when you borrow phrases, then it's borders on plagiarism, or as we say, there's a taxonomy of copying, which leads to language appropriation. So you want to be clear on that. So remember, the summary is a recounting of the important ideas of a work. Just tell the audience who has not read the article what the article says. Do not judge or offer your opinion in the summary. I'll get to the organizational outline in a minute. But the idea here is much like that was talked about in the art of summarizing, to suspend your biases. A summary is needing to be an unbiased representation of the source article. Okay, so finally, identify the author, giving credentials and the title of the source, and tag the author. All right, mention the author's name, last name, every 3 to 4 sentences, often using signal verbs listed in the art of summarizing. So if you remember, in the art of summarizing, at the back of the reading, there was a section on signal verbs, and I suggest everybody go back to those particular, to that reading. Take a look at those signal verbs. If you would like, there are also some signal verbs for making a claim in the textbook. If you look in the chapter, I believe it'd be chapter 1, Essay Basics. Let me see if I can get there. Get to Essay Basics. All right. Here on page 15, there are some additional verbs that will help with writing the summary essay. All right. So you're going to want to make sure that you give that a read. Look at the verbs there. Remember now, so if I say, coming back to them every 3 or 4 sentences, you have to remind everyone what the author is, or who the author is, I should say. All right, so it should be Rose explains, Rose argues, and it should be every 3 to 4 sentences. If you don't acknowledge Rose, then what's happening is you have this tendency to take over the conversation, and you might fall into that closest cliche trap, and you want to avoid that. So as we move into the summary essay assignment, I suggest everybody take a few minutes and read the actual assignment. You can find the assignment here in the textbook or in the module in Canvas. So for the introduction of the summary essay, I give you two strategies to open this essay. It's really straightforward, and I urge every one of you to consider either strategy, because this is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm telling you exactly how to write this essay. So consider the following strategies for opening your essay. Whichever opening you decide to use for your essay, introducing the article and its title is critical to informing the audience of what's coming. So first, one way to open the essay is offer the background of the author. You know, Rose provides some personal information in his Blue Collar Brilliance article. You can Google Mike Rose and get some information. You don't have to cite it. You can use some information from the video. But remember now, the video is not part of our summary essay. Only the Blue Collar Brilliance article is what we're writing on. All right. Sorry, needed coffee on this morning. So, offer the background. He gives enough of himself to open up the essay, announce the article, and tie it all together. The other strategy to write the introduction here is to tell a story about you or your family's blue collar experience. If you're a server and you've worked at a server while you're trying to get through high school and into college, that's great. Relate to it, but you remember, as I say in the introduction portion at the top of the page here, that you have to acknowledge Rose and the article, the title of the article, right? So you can open up with a family member, you can connect to Blue Collar Brilliance. You have, usually I get an uncle or a dad or somebody who works in the industries, and you can see that they demonstrate that kind of cognitive process, that a level of intelligence that Rose talks about in the article. That's great, and you have to turn around and figure out some way to get to a statement of focus. So that's your introduction, and I want to be clear on this. If you've had the opportunity to review the SA1 video and some of the comments, I was very clear about getting right to it. I don't want a paragraph, abstract paragraph, talking all about blue collar work, okay, without attaching to the article before you get into the next portion. I'm offering you two pathways here, all right? So the body of the essay after the introduction then will summarize Rose's article. And we've talked enough about Rose's argument, how he used his mom Rosie and Uncle Joe and their cognitive processes, all right, other blue collar workers, and the idea of intelligence. So you want to get a comprehensive summary of that article. It's got to get good coverage. If you're cutting somebody short, I can assure you, or omitting some aspect of it, it might not grade that well. All right, so after then, you've completed the summary portion. In the conclusion here, it states, as stated in the instructions, avoid abandoning the summary by delaying your opinion about Rose's article until the conclusion. Be clear in your position. Do you agree or disagree with Rose's argument? So this is very important. A conclusion, this is where you offer your opinion. If you offer it any time sooner in the essay, okay, then you have abandoned the summary. And yes, I have seen from time to time where a student will write one really long paragraph, which is basically their opinion in the conclusion to make up the word count. No, that's not going to really work well. All right, I want a conclusion, a normal paragraph. Some might be developed more than others. I understand that, but you have to withhold your opinion until the conclusion. That way you're not abandoning. So be aware, go back to the art of summarizing, understand what the closest cliche syndrome is. Please be aware of what the list summary looks like and how to use the transitional words that have been offered in the art of summarizing and even in the textbook here. All right. So this is the summary essay assignment. I believe first drafts and the peer reports are due on Tuesday, end of day. I've created the SA2 folder in your course folder along with the copy of the peer review report. Remember, once again, make a copy before you start working in it. All right, so that's this week's lecture video. I want to make sure that everybody gets the opportunity to understand the assignment, the organizational outline. Remember now, the textbook is a resource, and in college we have to use resources. So, don't be afraid to revisit Chapter 1, the essay basics, to go over some of the items that maybe were an issue for your essay 1. For example, MLA guidelines. You can understand what MLA guidelines look like. Here is how your document should be set up, right? So be aware of all of this information here is a tool for you to use to be successful in this course, all right? All right, if you have any questions, send me an email. Good luck and stay safe.